Welcome, folks. Welcome back to another podcast of The Art of Being with the Act Matrix. I'm Kevin Polk, one of your co-hosts. Here's the other one.
And I am Phil Tenalia, the other co-host. And our special guest today is...
Is that where I introduce myself?
That's where you come in, Julie.
So I'm Dr. Jule Beaulac, otherwise known as Julie. And yes. I'm excited to be here speaking with you both.
And we are excited too.
Yeah. And lately I said people come on and talk about their thing, whatever that thing is, what they want to talk about. So what do you want to talk? What's your thing?
Well, my thing, I guess I could say my thing is when I've been reflecting on the art of being.
Yeah.
Is about connecting. So that word connecting really sums up the art of being to me. And what I guess if I could say a little bit more about what I mean by that,
yes,
it is through both the cultivation of awareness and kindness that I feel we are able to connect and really live a full, rewarding life, one of meaning.
Very cool. Awareness and kindness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if I could put a little plug in, I've been thinking a lot about this theme recently as I've been preparing to launch a new e-course with a friend and colleague that will teach skills in cultivating awareness and kindness. So this course that we're putting together, Dr. Tracy Dalglash and I, is all about teaching people skills to notice and respond with kindness. So that course is going to be launched likely in the next month or so. So stay tuned.
Yeah, exciting.
So you can just say your website out loud.
Yeah, sure. So people want more information on this. This course is going to target busy professional women. That being said, anyone would benefit from the tools we'll be teaching. And the course is going to be called From Stressed to Balanced, Tools to Help You Live Your Best Life. And it's going to be live online over 5 weeks, one session a week. And if you want more information, get on my email list at drjuliebolac.com. I'll spell that out. It's Dr. DrJuliebEAULAC.com. And at that link, you can get the latest updates. And also, if you put your email list, or if you add your email to my list, you can get a free guide on 5 steps to help you thrive in your busy life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, so now is it on the podcast, without giving away your whole show, or your whole course, I guess. Tell us a little about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. I'd love to. So what both Dr. Tracy and I find in working with people, especially busy professional women that are juggling all sorts of different responsibilities and roles in their lives, is it's not always feasible or desirable to go in to see a psychologist like myself or like Dr. Tracy once a week for psychotherapy, or go away on a retreat or take some sort of workshop. And so we really wanted to make the tools and the skills that we teach all the clients we work with, including the Matrix, which I'll get into the link of how that comes into the course. So it's not always feasible to go and do these longer, more time-intensive, resource-intensive things, but we wanted to make all these tools and skills really accessible to people. So we have put together and designed this course to be really powerful and able to do anywhere. So as long as you can log on online once a week, you can connect and get what you would get essentially from doing some sort of therapy or otherwise development process in an online accessible format.
Okay.
Okay, well, tell us some more about awareness and kindness.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
How
What
did
I
you
mean,
get there?
how did I get there?
Yeah.
Well, awareness and kindness, the art of being. So when you think about like what matters and who matters, you first have to pause and notice what shows up, right?
Mm.
Notice like what is this all about? This life that we're living. And we've talked about this in our group before, the mastermind
Oh
group
yeah.
and matrix groups, about what matters to people is our loved ones, the people we care about. And yet life can get, and we can allow life to get so busy, and the world around us is so busy, and there are things coming at us. If we don't pause to notice what really matters, who really matters, we aren't able to live our lives in the ways that provides meaning.
Okay, I got a question.
We get distracted.
Yeah.
I got a question for
Yeah.
you. Phil and I have we go round and round and do lots of talking on topics, and then we go and research them, and I listen to podcasts of learned people with this and that and the other, YouTube videos and all. And as you were talking about awareness, of who's important to you, it suddenly dawned on me, I think I've listened to some who aren't very aware.
Yeah.
What do you say, Phil?
Like these learned.
Oh, yeah. The experts out there that who have words that are coming toward me, but I'm not quite sure where they're heading.
Yeah, but I just wondered. So has that been your experience that a lot of Julie, that a lot of people, even quite learned people, maybe don't seem to be, at least the words they say and the actions they take don't lead us to think that they've really contemplated who's important to them, aware of that. What do you think?
Yeah, that's certainly been my experience. And I what I've noticed is in our society of so many distractions, where we're encouraged to wear busyness on our sleeve, almost like it's something to boast about.
It's a merit badge.
It's and I get it. I get caught up in it too.
Who's busier? Right.
Yeah, we're surrounded by
busy
these
stories
pressures
back and forth, right? Yeah.
So it can be, our society and what we're surrounded by make it challenging to really tune into what's most important. And it requires really building in space into our day-to-day lives for self-reflection so that we are able to notice.
You know what just showed up for me as you said that is, Julie, is like in your course is you're giving yourself permission. You have to almost give yourself permission to do something like that. Like it's okay to step back and pause.
I love that word. And Dr. Tracy, my friend and colleague, who's going to be launching this course with me, is all about giving ourselves permission.
Okay.
Permission to take care or resource or do what you need to do.
Well, I'm going to bust in here.
All right.
Does that mean people are afraid to do it?
Ooh. Would that be the bottom left quadrant of the matrix, Kevin? Fear showing
it. Certainly feels that way to me at this point.
Absolutely. Because, what kinds of thoughts might show up that would get people stuck? I have so much to do thought, or, I have to prove myself. I don't, like this imposter syndrome, like I don't belong, or I haven't demonstrated my worth yet in this area.
So if I give myself permission to be aware, then I might not be busy, and I might be an imposter, and all kinds of horrible things might show
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
So therefore, go ahead, Phil.
Yes.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, stuff might show up, so maybe it's best to just keep those plates spinning.
Mm-hmm.
Stay busy.
To stay busy. Yeah.
And
There's some initial relief in staying busy, right? We feel like we're being productive, we're worthwhile, no one's going to find us out. And yet there's a cost to that.
Well, yeah, there's a cost. There's a big, I like that word. So no one's going to find us out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And oftentimes the cost is huge. Especially for people who are playing caregiving roles, whether it be professional or personal caregiving roles, you get whether you like the term burnt out or just completely exhausted, overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
So how does one go about noticing what's showing? Okay, I'm going to complete this thought any day now. Okay, so here you go. I'm going to matricize it. Yeah. So we're going to say, okay. I've listened to a little bit of this. I being some person out there in the world, and yes, taking time to contemplate who's, the stuff that's important to me is worthy. And yes, I would like to give myself permission to do that. Yeah. It's a grand idea. And then about 4 microseconds later, the lower left stuff shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's slightly
fear, anxiety, sense of obligation.
Yep. Too much to do.
So then how do they get to the upper right quadrant, which is taking stock and what's important, who's important?
So, that's exactly why I framed this as, noticing and responding with kindness. So it's not enough to just notice what's showing up. It's how we then respond to what shows up, both inside of us and outside of us. And so oftentimes, how are we going about trying to motivate ourselves to change? It's through, criticism, right? Like, oh, not good enough. I got to do this. Or
I was going to say a whip.
A whip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a cattle prod would do. Like
cat of nine tails.
Yeah.
Sort of medieval term, but yeah. But instead we use words.
Yeah, we use lots of words, harsh, critical words, and they might be, in the voice of someone else in our life, either past or present. It might be some family member who has always said a certain thing to us in a certain way, and we just hear that voice it's like tape recorded or on repeat in our voice, and we use that to try to motivate change, and yet it's not a very useful strategy. And so this course will teach more useful, more workable strategies for motivating change.
Yeah.
If you think about the ideal coach, what's the ideal coach? Who would you want if you have a kid, or if you yourself would be interested in pursuing some sort of sport or other endeavor and get better at it? What kind of coach would you want?
Right.
A very, very critical one.
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, really?
With
I'm being
Yeah.
No, you want a kind, supportive one.
I want someone who has my back.
Totally.
Right.
And that's how we
gets
would
me.
be an
Right.
hour often towards, friends, colleagues, family members, loved ones. And yet to ourselves, we're just often, not all of us, but often we're much less nice to ourselves, much less kind to ourselves. And we think that if we're kind, we might be letting ourselves off the hook. And yet, in fact, the research and clinical experience show very strongly that the opposite is true.
Yeah.
We are more likely to be productive and competent in what we do if we motivate ourselves with kindness.
Okay, so how come lots of folks are afraid to be kind to themselves?
Well, it's a pattern. We get caught up in this loop of doing things in a certain way.
I
It's
wasn't
the
being
default.
right. Yeah, I did. I was more. Didn't mean to say it. I don't think you have the answer any more than I do. But
Yeah.
I get the feeling that a lot of people are afraid to be kind to themselves.
Oh, totally. Well, there's a lot of myths around that too, which we'll get into a little bit in the course. One of them being, you'll become complacent. It'll let you off the hook, right?
Yeah.
And then you'll be not busy.
Yeah.
And then you'll be not busy.
If I step off that hamster wheel, boy.
Exactly. If you're not busy, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
Basically, at least in my world,
or what will other people say? If they notice me actually taking some time to, take a break at work.
They'll probably think badly of you.
Yeah.
At least I should say. At least that's what your mind says.
Mm-hmm.
and the great thing is most of the time people won't even notice.
Right.
Because they're caught up in their
own hamster wheel.
Right. Yeah. They're on their own hamster wheel, so they won't even notice it.
So we're all caught up in our own stories.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the most powerful takeaways that the Matrix and getting involved in the Matrix all those years ago, back in that cold February workshop. Remember, Kevin, when?
Oh my God!
Montreal years ago.
That was Montreal.
Yeah.
It literally was below. Well, it was below zero in both Celsius and Fahrenheit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was cold and a 40-mile-an-hour wind. So yes, so you got involved in the Matrix, which
so I've been
sort of automatically with its first question, whichever way you do it, asks you to take stock of yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
it puts that right up front, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it does. Even if you start at the top of the matrix, which is the senses. You would ask people, well, notice things through your 5 senses. Well, right then, people don't usually do that. They don't take time to do that, at least truly notice them. Or you can switch with the other question, which even more nails it, which is who's important to you.
Yes.
And then that always gets people going. So, but once again, now in that context, I guess it seems okay to take stock in yourself because whatever reason you've gotten around Phil or I or Julie and we're asking that question, and it's sort of okay to do it within that context. But out there in the world all by yourself, you and your own matrix, not so much, right, Phil?
It's dangerous out there, Kevin.
Yeah. Oh, another thing. Now, Phil just went to one of my favorite places, the amygdala.
Oh, yes.
And so that is, so if you're
the emotion control center of the brain.
Right. Well, emotion, exactly, and a biggie of being fear. So is he pondering maybe that if you take time to take stock in yourself and who and what's important to you, at that time you're placing yourself in danger.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's this perceived risk.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you were getting at, Phil?
Yeah. That it's too dangerous for me to allow myself to do something like this. So something bad might happen.
Well, that's just one hell of a treadmill to get on.
It sure is.
Oh.
I can't take the time to do that.
Because I'm afraid I'll get eaten if I take that time.
Something will eat me, yes.
Right.
Yeah. So the one of the troubles or issues with our minds, they're great, powerful tools when used in the appropriate time and place. But they, it's important to be cautious about what we believe. So, this idea of a thought just being a thought. It's a really sticky one for many people.
Yeah.
It truly is. Oh, yeah. So it's almost, you need a new mantra. It's okay to take time.
Yeah. And sometimes things like yeah, developing a mantra
Yeah.
can be a really powerful exercise with people. You know, each morning as they get up, saying something that you need to hear. It both encourages noticing of what's important, and then maybe also in the same step, how to respond to that noticing of what's important with kindness rather than, you know, come on, you
Cool.
idiot, just take time.
Right.
You know,
Kindness
that's not
rather
the
than
mantra that
criticism.
I would
Right. Yes.
suggest.
I was gonna say that's a great mantra. Come on, you idiot, take time.
You know, I might encourage something more like, you know.
I could feel the crack of the whip right there.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay, so Phil, you're sort of our resident mantra expert. At least
Yeah, how could you spin that?
and at least I just made you into our resident.
Uh-oh. Something's showing up in me now.
But would that be?
Let me guess, fear?
Would that be one of the purposes of a mantra?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, mantras get you through lots of stuff.
So a mantra, if it's a word or a phrase.
Yeah, just a phrase, something you tell yourself.
That people practice saying to themselves over and over.
Yeah.
And I guess I hadn't thought of it this way, folks. So out there on the webcast, I mean on the podcast, I'm just riffing here.
Yeah.
But it sounds like that is something, since we get literally thousands of messages to be busy and don't take time. I mean, they're sneaky little messages. Sometimes they're not sneaky, but a lot of times they're very sneaky messages. And so this would be a mantra in this way, and it would literally be words that you think to yourself or say to yourself that you would use to counteract. And just, if you said it enough times, it's okay to take time.
Yeah.
It's okay to take time. It's okay to take time.
Yeah.
You might then take time.
Yeah. I was even thinking of a question that you could even ask yourself, like, is this?
What is the sound of one hand clapping?
Well, that one, maybe I was just thinking something like, well, is this a kind thing to do right now? Am I doing something kind for myself?
I love it.
Wow, what a mantra. That's a whole lot better than what is the sound of one hand clapping.
Yeah, it just sends me right off into like land.
When you said question, for some reason, that crazy question popped into my mind.
That would be the question.
So here's a question I often ask people to try out on themselves. And that is, what do I need to be well right now?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And
so
Phil
often,
was more
as you mentioned earlier, Kevin, we're like, people are walking around disembodied. So they're so in their heads that, you know, it's like this walking head rather than being connected to your body. And we're not even aware of what we need.
Right.
And so even if we don't have an answer to that question, just pausing and asking ourselves, what do I need to be well right now? Gets us into the practice of noticing whatever is showing up that we're able to observe.
Oh, precisely.
Yeah.
Very much so. So the trick is getting past the amygdala that's saying that all this stuff is dangerous.
All those alarm bells going off.
And folks on the podcast, just in case, what is they? Kevin's crazy. No, I'm not. Well, I am crazy, but not on amygdalas. And that's just right next door to your sensory motor cortex inside your brain. And it's very, 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 very functional for it to be there, because if some ginormous bus happens to be barreling down on you, you quickly get out of the way. You stay out of the way of danger. And those few milliseconds make a big difference. Where most of our thinking, you know, and our contemplating things and all that take place in the prefrontal cortex, which in brain terms is way out in the South 40. away from the amygdala.
Mhm.
And so and then you get to the mind in the prefrontal cortex thinks it's really hot stuff.
Yeah.
And it controls everything, and it knows lots of stuff and all of that. And the amygdala is always going, yeah, sure, I'm keeping you out of danger, whatever you're doing over there in the South 40. So that amygdala is just constantly showing up and say, danger, danger. Hey, this might be, and it's even worse. It's like, it might be dangerous. It might be dangerous.
Yeah.
It might be. And then the prefrontal has to come in and say, well, is this really dangerous or not? But then nevertheless, you're still in that spot. To get past all of that is what I'm talking about, and getting to where you ask yourself, hey, what really matters to me?
Yeah.
And asking those kinds of questions, obviously when you are in a safe place.
Yeah.
But at the same
and asking ourselves those kinds of questions can be real game changers in how we respond, because we get, we can, it's like pressing pause and going, okay, I don't know what to do right now, but rather than doing this autopilot spiral that we all get caught up in, let's just pause and notice whether there's a more skillful way of responding to the situation that might be more in our best interest.
Right. And then that would be, is the move I'm about to make kind to myself and others?
Yeah.
Right. And I know this is a word you both love, workable, right?
Yeah.
And then is it kind and workable? Right. Because something you might be doing might be kind, but even on the very front of it, you could tell, but it's not workable.
Yeah.
So kind and then workable, but always having that. And then, my goodness, in this world, I can guarantee you the people that I'm listening to on many of the different podcasts and stuff, they're not asking themselves, is this kind, before they open their mouths. What would you say, Phil?
Oh, I would say they're pretty good at firing up my amygdala as well.
Exactly. And it's really, the people don't be, in general, a lot of people anyway, at least people in the media, are not asking that question. Is what I'm about to do kind?
Yeah. And one further thought around kindness. We often, when we hear the word kindness, I think most people would think like warm, fuzzy thoughts, like it's all about comforting, soothing, saying something nice.
Yeah.
Being kind can also be about protecting ourselves, or setting limits, or saying no.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So in one situation, the most kind thing you might do for yourself and the situation is to say, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Or walking away. That might be the kind action to take.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. Especially when.
Very much so.
Well, that could go either way, whether you're talking to yourself, and saying, it's okay if I don't do this extra thing.
Yeah.
One, and two, when you're talking to somebody else, you can say, hey, you know what? It's okay if you don't do that extra thing. It's okay. Take a break, chill out a little bit. And that's not the message we get a lot, though.
No, not at all. So these are all the sorts of tools and skills that people will be learning in the course From Stress to Balance, tools to help you live your best life.
So it's almost how to, and it is learned, folks. It really is. So how to learn, how to take time to be aware and be kind. In a world where you don't learn that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there's not books and stuff out there that talk about it, but I don't get the feeling that the predominant amount of information that's coming in through all of our media, whatever you want to say it is, that comes at you, is telling us to take time to be aware and kind. Maybe I missed in some weird.
I'm thinking right now. I haven't heard anything like that today. So until now,
I mean, maybe I'm in a weird bubble, and the two of you, are in a different world. You're getting lots of messages to take time and be kind.
Oh no, I'm in the same world as you.
No. We have notifications, and we have phones that ring, and all kind of things that are pulling us out of that.
Oh yeah, and hence the importance, even more so, of cultivating this practice,
Very
pausing
much
and
so.
noticing.
And anybody would know in this podcast, Phil and I are big time into this. We would. This is about having our new show stuff on. How do you say that? Patreon.
My wife today said Patreon. That's the way that she said it.
Okay,
I like that.
That sounds good.
I know what
but anyway, that is where people can support the podcast. But what I'm talking about is the page that describes the podcast, and that is The Art of Being with the Act Matrix, and it's about having conversations that that are workable and move people. I'll probably need to put kindness in there.
Well, yeah. Now that Julie's brought this up,
and I also think my wife, man, she basically, she evaluates all people on kindness.
Yeah.
You're either kind or you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kindness is key.
Yeah, right. And basically her choice is, I'm going to go hang around with kind people.
Absolutely. Yeah.
and if you're not, I'm not going to hang around.
Right.
So if you notice me not hanging around you, there's probably a reason for it. So, and both of you have met my wife. She's very, very sweet.
She's very kind.
Yeah. Well, very kind, exactly. So, she'll say, and has for years, my big deal is kindness.
Yeah.
You can have.
Well, she's not alone. The Dalai Lama is up there with.
Oh, really?
Too, right? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it's important. Boy, we're missing that. So anyway, so you've helped us in this podcast, our message,
moving kindness front and center of
and also taking time to be aware of who and what's important to you, taking stock in that, and then being kind so that it's workable for you at the same time, and then be prepared for your own mind and other people's minds that are going to tell you you're full of it.
Yes, for the messages.
And don't do that.
Yeah. So here's a quote from the Dalai Lama. It is, "My religion is very simple. My religion is kindness."
Wow.
There's a mantra.
There's a mantra. Right. I bet he says that a lot. Wow. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, if we lived in a world where at least the majority of people were kind to one another, I dare say it would be a different world.
Well, we can start with ourselves.
We'll just start with ourselves, right? There you go. But then I'll go back. But that poor self out there, maybe listening to this podcast, is then going to be hit with 1,000 messages that says don't do that.
Right.
And so I guess we need to help put out the messages to say, yes, do that. And also how to take stock and notice when those I'm going to say this wrong, but be not kind messages show up, or the don't be kind messages show up. And, and maybe you just notice them showing up and going, well, there you go. There's another one of those not be kind messages.
Yeah.
And I don't have to internalize them. That takes some work. That take a little bit of practice.
Yeah. Absolutely. But with practice, we can become more skilled at all of these things.
So the main thing you're saying is takes practice.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Takes practice. The really important thing, and I think why having, going through an online course with with some sort of credible material behind it, is practice in and of itself is not sufficient. So we can practice the same skill over and over again, but if the skill is just a bad one to begin with, you're not going to get better at something, right?
That is true.
And so you want to make sure that what you are practicing is a useful skill.
I like that word, useful, Julie.
Yeah. And so Dr. Tracy and I have put together what we believe are very useful, powerful skills and tools in a really concise yet comprehensive 5-week program. So I'm looking forward to sharing it with everyone.
That's
and
great.
Just if I can point people out again to my website, it's drjulebeaulac.com, or you can follow me. I post different tips and updates on my Instagram. So at Dr. Beaulac, so at DRBEAULAC.
Well, and if do in the context of this, send me that link.
Yeah,
and I'll include it.
We'll put it up.
Right. On the show notes. Awesome.
Show notes. Yep.
Yeah, and might I also say then, I mean, the thought that's running around in my head is now a big step toward awareness and kindness for people that are listening would be to go and sign up for the course for awareness and kindness for yourself.
There you go.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the course registration isn't open yet, but you can get on my wait list for the course, and anyone on the wait list will get a promo to get a discount for the course. So if you sign up on my website or just message me through email or from my website or on Instagram, get in touch with me, ask me any questions. Love to hear from you.
Great.
Awesome.
We'll do it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you. Awesome as always.
Let me see. I was looking at the title. I was going to put Julie, blah, blah, blah. I'll put more than Julie on let me see, on taking time to be aware and kind. How's that?
Sure.
That's a nice title.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. We've done it. Thank you so much. We will talk soon.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye now.
See you, Julie.
And bye all.
Bye, everyone.